and it motivates you big time because you want to be another Captain Vikram Batra. You also feel कि कल को you will go to a war, even if you are recouping, you are resting after an assault, you will still volunteer कि नहीं मैंने भी जाना है. There has been a lot of controversy, lot of discussion on social media कि जो Gallantry Awards हैं in Defence Forces, चाहे वो इंडियन आर्मी हो, नेवी हो, एयरफोर्स हो, क्या वो इन्फ्लुएंस होते हैं बाय मीडिया, जहाँ किसी सिफारिश से, जहाँ किसी सिविल प्रेशर से. बहुत सारे लोगों ने they've asked me so many questions. I have got so many inquiries on that, especially by young aspirants of Service Selection Board, people who want to join army are youth. And my answer has always been in bold, no. There's no way that there is interference by media or any influence by anybody in deciding those Gallantry Awards from Paramveer Chakra to Sena Medal. I am Colonelrhayer here. I retired after 21 years of gallantry service with Indian Army. I was an aviator and a gunner. I commanded aviation and I commanded my artillery regiment. I must say this controversy has been so unwanted, unwarranted, and this is causing so much of questions in the mind of the youth. जो young बच्चे हैं जो डिफेंस फोर्सेस ज्वाइन करना चाहते हैं, मैं उनको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि गैलेंट्री अवार्ड होता क्या है. गैलेंट्री अवार्ड वो एक ऐसी रिकॉग्नाइजेशन है, गैलेंट्री अवार्ड एक ऐसा आपका एक अचीवमेंट है, एक ऐसा ड्रीम है जो स्टार्ट्स अप इन द एकेडमी. एकेडमी में जब आप जाते हो, सबसे पहली चीज़ आपकी नज़र जो पड़ती है किसी की यूनिफॉर्म में, दैट्स ऑन हिज यूनिफॉर्म. एंड व्हेन यू सी ऑन द यूनिफॉर्म एंड यू सी दोज मेडल्स एंड यू ऑल नो दैट ओके, सबसे पहला मेडल जो है दैट्स गोइंग टू बी ए गैलेंट्री अवार्ड. एंड यू ड्रीम ऑफ कि यू विल ऑल्सो बी वन डे doing that supreme act of sacrifice for your country, for your regiment, that you will also be one of the recipients. आपको भी लोग एक real hero जो है वो समझेंगे कि yes, you are the one who did something, you are the one जिसने यूनिफॉर्म पहनी थी for one day to give your life for your motherland, and that's what is Gallantry Award. Gallantry Award is not a name. It's not just about Paramveer Chakra, just not about Shaurya Chakra or Ashok Chakra. This is that moment for any soldier, for any officer, where it comes a dream come true, which has been set in the academy. कि one day on my chest I will have a Gallantry Award. और लोग मुझे एक हीरो की तरह देखेंगे, लोग मुझे एक बहादुर की तरह देखेंगे, लोग मुझे they will see me as a true son of a soil. That is what is Gallantry Award. Now I'll just tell those young aspirants कि जब हमें ये पता चल गया कि गैलेंट्री अवार्ड क्या चीज़ है, I will also like to tell them that what does it mean for a soldier, what does it mean for me as an officer, what does it mean will mean for you tomorrow. You know, this is something when you do something which is an act of gallantry और आपको you get an award, you know, when your regiment also gets recognized. सिर्फ आपकी recognition नहीं होती. It's not about Colonelrhayer you know getting a gallantry award. It is Colonelrhayer की कौन सी regiment है, कौन सी उसकी आर्म है. ये सारी चीज़ें जो हैं, this goes into the history. This goes into your history of your regiment. This goes into the history of your arm. It goes into the history of your region. कहाँ पे हमें पता चलता है कि you know yes, there's artillery officer who got an award. There is a Gorkha regiment officer or a Jawan who got a Paramveer Chakra. There is a Sikh regiment जवान और ऑफिसर हो गड़ा परमवीर चक्र. सिख रेजिमेंट ने कितने परमवीर चक्र लिए हैं, कितने शौर्य चक्र लिए हैं, आपके रेजिमेंटल सेंटर्स के ऊपर आपके नाम लगते हैं. यू गो इनटू एनी प्लेस, दे विल बी ऑलवेज अ स्पेशल रोल ऑफ ऑनर फॉर दोज डेकोरेटेड सोल्जर्स whom not only you look up as your real-time heroes, you also look them as role models. You become a role model for your regiment, for your arm, for the whole country. For all young aspirants like you, आज भी चाहे वो अरुण खेत्रपाल हो, चाहे वो होशियार सिंह हो, चाहे वो सूबेदार बाना सिंह हो, every परमवीर विजेता is remembered. People see them as their role models for future. They set that threshold. जो आपकी sacrifice का threshold, your dedication to your country का that threshold, the threshold of being a true soldier, you feel कि अगर ये मेरे साथी ने किया है तो मैं भी कल को ये कर सकता हूँ. That becomes real motivation, that becomes a real जोश, and यही सबसे बड़ी motivation है. No pay, no salary, no benefits, no chutti gives you that motivation as much as looking at a decorated soldier motivates you. You see them as the real-time motivational spirit in front of you. You see them as कि यही रास्ते में मैंने चलना है, मैंने इससे भी आगे करना है, मैंने शौर्य चक्र लेना है, मैंने कीर्ति चक्र लेना है, मैंने वीर चक्र लेना है, मैंने परमवीर चक्र लेना है. कितने लोग आज आप में ऐसे हैं, those doesn't see Captain Vikram Batra's supreme sacrifice as a death. They see at कि he got a Paramveer Chakra. He's remembered. People recognize not only him, his family, his city. Everything becomes a part of a history. It becomes a glorious part of your life, for your family, for your regiment, for your arm. Everybody knows today, because of Captain Vikram Batra, Paramveer Chakra Vajeta, they all know where does he belong to. They all know what Chandigarh mein padha tha. They all know that he went to an Indian Military Academy. That's what is the motivation. It doesn't scare you. It motivates you. And it motivates you big time because you want to be another Captain Vikram Batra. You also feel that kal ko you will go to a war, even if you're recouping, you're resting after an assault, you will still volunteer. Nahi, maine bhi jana hai. I want to go back again to assault. I will fight the enemy to last bullet. I will be another Captain Vikram Batra. Now I want to give a little brief on how these Gallantry Award selections are done. Having been actively involved, be it a CI Ops in Jammu and Kashmir, be it in Northeast, be it in high altitude areas of Leh Ladakh, I have seen so many of my counterparts getting recommended, including myself. I have been recommended for Sena Medal twice, and I can tell you that how these Gallantry Awards are selected. Your IO, that is your immediate reporting officer, that can be your commanding officer, that can be your regimental OC or a CO who will recommend you. Your brigade commander or your RO, your reviewing officer will recommend it further. There will be a committee in the DEV, they are dedicated officers and is headed by the general officer commanding of a division. Then they recommend you. It goes to the corps where there's a corps commander, there is his MS staff and other designated officers who sits in that committee, and all your activities, all your acts, all your gallantry, legendary actions, along with the evidence, support is discussed, and based on the merit, they keep pruning it down and keep sending it to the higher headquarters. The lowest headquarter, which will be the one who will decide about any gallantry award, will be a command headquarters. And nothing other than an army commander who's a lieutenant general, he sits in that committee which decides, which recommends those gallantry awards. The gallantry awards up to Sena Medal are decided at the command levels. Beyond that, whether it is Veer Chakra, whether it's a Shaurya Chakra, whether it's a Shok Chakra, whether it's a Mahavir Chakra, whether it is Kirti Chakra or Paramveer Chakra, the recommendations goes to Army Headquarters. Under the Adjutant General branch, there is a designated team of officers which is headed by not other than an Lieutenant General, which will sit and again recommend. They all recommending, they all pruning down based on the act of sacrifice, the act of gallantry, along with all the other recommendations, along with all the other evidential real-time proof. And then it goes to a committee which is called Central Honors and Awards Committee, CH&AC, which have 3 chiefs. Tino services ke chief, Naval Chief, Air Force Chief, Army Chief. They sit in that committee. The Defense Secretary sits in that committee and is headed by nothing other than the Defense Minister of the country. And that committee recommends and sends the names to the Prime Minister's PMO's office for approval. After the PMO's office approves, the Prime Minister of the country approves, then it goes to the President of India. And once the President of India puts his stamp, he approves it, then only they are declared to be announced on Republic Day, that is 26 January. ये सारा process जो है generally सारी recommendations सब कुछ by August they reach Army headquarters and then the process starts so that in time they can announce it. With this as a selection process, इतना detailed process, इस सारे process में till it reaches Army headquarters, there is no civilians involved, there is no media influences involved, there is nobody who can recommend or put pressure for these things. That is why, with all my confidence, with 21 years plus service and having been recommended twice for these Gallantry Awards, I can tell you this. There is no reason why the selection process of a Gallantry Awards can ever be questioned. There is no reason why should we even having a doubt in our mind कि इतने बहादुरी के Gallantry Award जो है उसमें कोई भी सिफारिश और कोई मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकता है. So my answer to your question is whether any media or anybody can influence Gallantry Awards in India for defense forces, the answer is just big no.